What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm gonna be bringing you had to pass. Today I'm gonna be bringing you a video about major differences between the 600 and 1000. I don't know, maybe some of y'all are looking to upgrade to 1000, or maybe some of y'all never had either and want to choose between a 600 or 1000. The topic is the major differences between those class of motorcycles. Obviously, this is a Ninja H2. This is not your regular 1000, but I have been on an R1. I think that's the only 1000 I've ridden, but I also have a Ninja ZX6R 600. So I can say like I have experience on pretty much most, you know, like the different classes. Like this is supercharged 1000. I have experience on a regular 1000 and on a 600. The first topic and the most obvious one is power, and there's a big difference. We're talking about like most 600s are gonna have roughly, I would say about 130 horsepower, around that range, and that's like crank horsepower, not wheel horsepower. I don't really know how much wheel horsepower those bikes make. So we're going to talk about kind of like, you know, stock on brochure kind of configurations. So about 130 I would assume for like most kind of 600s, around that. And when you talk about thousands, most of them are going to be like around 190 to 200, pretty much stock. You really feel it, power, and it just like doesn't stop. On a 600 you always need to find that kind of like power band. On these bikes there's no, like there is a power band where you feel more power, but you always have power. Like there's no way usually I have to be cruising in 6th gear and I just give it some throttle and it just like picks up right away, and you feel your butt cheeks almost getting closer to the back of the seat because like of, you know, like the torque and how fast it takes off. It just definitely feels very different, and you'll definitely notice it. And a note for people that are moving from smaller bikes to bigger bikes: be careful with the throttle control. When I first got on a 1000, that's the main thing I noticed. Like you're gonna feel the power and you're gonna play around with it later on when you get more comfortable on it, but right when you go down, right when you take off, the throttle is way more sensitive. It's almost like having to relearn throttle control. So just be aware of that. Like be very careful, don't give it too much gas, because like it has a lot of power and really low RPM. So like just be cautious. So personally, I got my first bike ever was a 300, Ninja 300, then moved to a Ninja 600, the 636, and then now finally I'm on this H2, and this was my dream bike. I'm 22 now. I'm happy to have it, and it's a lot of fun. But I definitely think that moving up in the power, like slowly moving up, was helpful for me. I don't think I could have moved, well, I get it, this is not just like your average 1000, but like still I think like moving from a 600 to 1000 was like a good choice. If I moved from a 300 straight to 1000, I think that'll be a little too much, you know. And it's also fun to experience all like different levels of power, because you get to appreciate it more. 300 was like, it was fun when I first got on it. I've never been on a bike. I was like, oh my god, this is so fun. But then as you like get used to it, you grow out of it and you're like, yeah, I need more power. Then you get to 600 and you're like, oh my god, this is plenty of power, I'm enjoying it, this is enough. Then you always have that kind of feeling in the back of your head that you're like, what if I got like one of those? Like I want my dream bike, and you know, why not have it? So that was the first topic: power, throttle control. Very different. You will definitely feel it. It's just a whole different experience. And second of all, I'm going to talk about is price. I mean, the price difference, like you don't look at the price difference between a 600 and a 1000 just by like the price tag when you first buy it, or when you buy it used, or whatever you're doing. They're going to be more expensive, obviously, because you're getting more of a bike. But the main thing you gotta worry about is like parts and maintenance and all that stuff, because that adds up. And also like insurance is gonna be way more expensive on these bikes, because they're more expensive bikes and they're more dangerous. So you gotta put like calculate all that in mind. It's not just like the price tag. My third point out of the 5, the major differences between a 600 and a 1000, and that is electronics. Most 1000s come with a bunch of like helpful electronics, a zillion traction control modes. This bike has like 10 or 11 traction control modes, which is insane, but like given the power, I think you need that. It's kind of like moving from a little like flip phone to like an iPhone. You know, like you get way more out of this bike. Options like this bike, most 1000s have like launch control. They have like all these crazy, like I know our ones have like, or most 1000s have like wheelie control and all that. This bike doesn't have a wheelie control mode, which I think it should, but I mean, I don't really mind it. Once you get used to it, you just learn to fight the wheelie on your own. I know like there's like lean assist and all that stuff. Like there's a lot of electronics that come with a 1000 that 600s don't really offer. Yeah, that's like the third major difference that you gotta keep in mind when you're getting that bike. But yeah, this is like a bonus point too. Gas. Oh my god, these bikes drink so much gas. I mean, this bike specifically probably drinks way more gas. That's a major difference that you're definitely gonna feel with the gas. You're gonna fill up way more often. No thank you, I don't want a receipt. 12 bucks for a full tank. I'll take that any day. Thank you. And there we go. Sorry guys. I mean, not that you would notice that I was taking a while, but I had to catch up with the boys, decide where we're going, and now we can continue the video. Beautiful day outside today. Really beautiful. It's like 70s all day. It's way harder to like kind of record and talk when you're riding with friends because you're kind of like occupied with everything that's going on. But I'll do my best. I mean, we have only like 2 more points. Whoa, look at the line for the bank. COVID-19, stay safe. The 4th point would be, it's kind of like similar to electronics, but not really. It's just what you get out of like these bikes. They come with way more modifications that people tend to put on later on. First and foremost, most 1000cc motorcycles have a steering stabilizer, which is like, honestly, it's like night and day. I've never had a steering stabilizer before this bike. I've always wanted to get one on my 600 ever since I got a tank slapper, and if you don't know what that is, that's pretty much when you're going on, well, I was going on the freeway, but you can be going on any road, and pretty much what happens is that you hit a bump, or if you're coming down from a wheelie or something, and the handlebars start going sideways and the whole bike starts to wobble. Let me tell you guys, it is terrifying. It was very sketchy, and the steering stabilizer definitely saves you. Moving on to another, well, it's the same like 4th point about like how you're getting more upgraded parts. That's pretty much, let's do 4th point is what, that's what it is. It's upgraded parts. Steering stabilizer, most bikes come with a quick shifter, or even better, and like an auto blip where you can shift up and down without holding the clutch. You know, like these 1000cc bikes come with all these upgrades that you're gonna want to do to your 600 at some point, because like all of them are really nice. Like a quick shifter is like amazing. You don't need it, but it's just the way that it feels. It feels so good. You're just getting like way more with these bikes than your regular 600. Just better parts, better brakes, more safety features and parts to make your riding more like fun and safe at the same time. Welcome back, guys. Believe it or not, I got way too occupied with the ride yesterday and I could not remember the last point. I finally did, but honestly I don't think it's a major point because it applies to the H2 more than most 1000s, but it kind of does apply. Like, the point is the weight. That was the 5th and final point of the major differences between a 600 and a 1000, and it's mainly the weight. We talked about gas. Literally went on a ride one time yesterday. Rode approximately about 50 miles yesterday. Definitely not over 70 miles, like that's the absolute max, I think. And I ran out of gas, and it was full tank. As you guys remember, I filled it up yesterday while I was making the video before I met up with my friends, and it ran out in one day. So yeah, this bike drinks a lot of gas. This bike is like a lot heavier than your regular 1000. Like, as I said, I've been on an R1 and it feels way lighter than this. It's not as light as a 600, which makes sense. Like with this bike, it weighs a little, well, stock weighs a little over 500. I believe stock is like 530 or something like that, which is absolutely insane. I guess I didn't want to mention that last point simply because I felt like it wasn't fair, since I'm on like this bike, which weighs significantly more than regular 1000s, since I've told you guys this bike just makes you want to speed. It's really hard not to. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys liked and enjoyed this video. I'm gonna make like more videos about fun H2 bike stuff, and I don't know, I just want to record a bunch of experiences with this bike. I don't really see a lot of like H2 content online, so it's like, why not make some, right? But anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked the video. Comment what else you think are like kind of major differences between 600 and 1000 cc's that I might have missed. These are kind of the things I felt the most from switching from my 636 into 1000, and I didn't do a full comparison to this 1000. I also compared to the R1 that I've rode, and you know, I'm just trying to give like a more fair comparison, since I know a lot of people are gonna be like, well, this is not your, you know, regular 1000, so you can't really compare to this one. But still, all the points I've covered I think apply to both regular 1000s and like the H2 in comparison to the 600s. Which power, electronics, upgraded parts on these bikes, 1000s, the price tag, maintenance price, just price overall, and the weight. And that should do it. It's exactly 12 o'clock. Peace out.